Hello friends and welcome back to our homestead. Today I will be making yogurt. I have videos about how I make yogurt, but this video is not about that. This video is about why I use raw milk, why I'm not afraid of raw milk, why I go out of my way to find a farm, a family-owned farm, small-scale dairy farm that is all grass fed, no antibiotics, no hormone injections to stimulate ovulations or to stimulate bigger milk production. No, I go out of my way to find a farm that will sell me raw milk. And because I believe that raw milk has more beneficial properties for our health than pasteurized milk that we get at the grocery store. See, 80% of all antibiotics that are sold in the United States are sold for intent or to be given to animals, farm animals most specifically. So I don't know about you, but I choose to avoid that if possible. See, in many farms, especially I'm talking about those mass production, massive farms, right? Where we get cheap meat and cheap milk from, right? In order for them to keep the animals healthy, they give them antibiotics prophylactically, meaning that the animal is not even sick, but they're giving them the antibiotic just to make sure they don't get sick. Because those animals are often walking knee, if not higher than their knee, deep in mud. And it's not mud, it's actually manure, it's their own poop. See, those animals never see the daylight of the pasture. So that's why, when we buy milk, it will be fortified with calcium, it will be fortified with vitamin D. Natural raw milk is very high in vitamin D. It's high in phosphorus, calcium, and other minerals. No need to fortify them. But once it is homogenized, and what is homogenization, you ask? Well, I'm no, scientist to explain it, but in my own words, I'm going to explain that homogenization, difficult word to pronounce, is actually a process that under very high pressure, they separate, not just separate, but they break the fat molecules on a molecular level. They break them up to stabilize them. So when we buy milk at the grocery store, we don't see the top layer of fat and the rest of milk. It's all homogenized. It's all mixed in because they broke up those fats. But the problem with that, and of course the almighty FDA and other agencies will argue, saying that there's no damage to the milk. It's perfectly fine. Sure, it's fine. But at this point, all of the omega fatty acids are destroyed or damaged. Okay? So, also, pasteurization absolutely destroys many wonderful enzymes that are essential to our body and helpful bacteria. So let me put this milk on a stove because I need to warm it up. I'm going to be making yogurt. I'm not going to boil it. But you can, if you want to, bring it, as soon as you see that boiling, rising of the water up, turn off the heat. And, that's your pasteurization. I'm not going to even do that. I'm going to bring it up to very warm, about 125, 130 degrees, maybe 140, and I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to use a little thermometer to help me with that. I also learned a trick long time ago, and I don't know if it's truly, but it's helping me. Before I pour milk into my pot, I rinse it in cold water. Now, I'm not sure if it's actually helpful or not. If anyone out there know that if this is actually true, let me know. But somebody taught me that a long time ago, that if you rinse your pot with cold water before pouring milk, it's going to help not for that milk not to stick to the walls of the pot and to the bottom. So that's what I've been doing for many years, and I continue to do so. All right, so this is going to go on a stove. I'm not going to leave the kitchen. I need to stay right here and keep an eye on it because I don't want it to boil and overrun. I need to maintain that temperature for making my yogurt. When I make yogurt, I always have to make sure that the previous batch, I have about, I don't know, half a cup to 3/4 of a cup left from a previous batch to make the new batch. But what happened is that it got eaten. Somebody ate it without realizing that's the end of the batch because I make yogurt about every 3, maybe 4 weeks, and then I make a lot of it. I put it in the refrigerator, and my family enjoys yogurt every single day. But like I said, somebody ate the last of it, so I ended up buying plain yogurt right from this farm, Oak Knoll Farms. It's in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Family owned, pasture raised, beautiful, beautiful product. So I bought it from them, a plain yogurt, so I can use it as my starter for this batch that I'm making. And I always make in a big pot. I make about 2 gallons worth. Now, one thing I'm going to mention is that if you are looking to make Greek yogurt, that means you need to strain it. Once it's set and all done and cooled off and the probiotic is done, it's doing its thing, it needs to be strained over a muslin cloth or cheesecloth that's been folded many, many, many times. And you can strain it by separating the whey from the protein, and that thicker yogurt, the Greek yogurt, will remain. Now, because I am not pasteurizing my milk, some of the natural probiotics, some of the natural bacteria, I'm going to say, and enzymes that are in the milk, in the raw milk, are not going to be killed. So therefore, they're going to be competing with a lactofermentation of the yogurt itself. So because of that, my yogurt will be a little thinner, a little runnier, but it's perfectly fine. It's just not going to be Greek thick yogurt. It's going to be a little runnier. So if you want to make Greek yogurt, you have to bring milk to complete boil, which is 180 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 something, right? And then 100 Celsius to boil. Actually, it's not 180, it's 212. It's 212 Fahrenheit to boil and 100 Celsius to boil. So like I said, if you want to make the Greek yogurt, it's going to require milk to get boiled to full boil in order to kill off the natural enzymes, to kill off the natural bacteria, and allow the probiotic bacteria from your starter to take over. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let it be more on the raw side. So that's why I bought myself a starter. You can buy a starter online. They sell them dry packages of like starter with many strains of lactobacillus in it. When we went to Amish country in Pennsylvania for a visit, and we went to their stores, they have many different types of yogurt starters, and you can also buy one online. I mean, Amazon or something like that. Just to try, I also bought their yogurt from the farm as well, and it is one was with maple, and we already ate it quickly, and this one is with honey. So it is so good. It is so delicious. It is like a dessert, literally nutrient dense dessert, but without chemicals and without preservatives. So you may ask me, Lilia, why the hassle? Why the extra work of making your own yogurt? Why can't you just buy yogurt? And I'm not against organically prepared yogurts, because at least in organic yogurts, I know that those cows cannot be on hormones and cannot be on antibiotics. But that doesn't tell me that they were grass fed. See, when a cow is eating corn or other grain, their biology was not designed for that. A cow was designed to eat grass and hay, not corn and other things that are being added to them. If you only knew that things are being fed to the cows, you would be appalled. You know, when they make alcohol, grain alcohol, and when the alcohol extracted, what's left over of that grain is given to the cows to eat. That's ridiculous, but that's the milk that we buy without even realizing. So, because the cows are being consuming, eating grain, corn, and other um, things, their rumen is not as healthy, and therefore their milks are not as healthy. They're not going to be having the normal enzymes that are beneficial to our health that a cow that was raised on the grass, under sunshine, eating fresh grass or hay in the winter. This is why I am going the extra step and making this yogurt at home. Okay. Yes, it is an extra step, but it's so easy. It's just a little time consuming, but it's really hands off. Most of the time, it's hands off. Once it warms up and I cool it down a little bit, I'm going to add my starter. I will mix it all in. I'll put a cover on, wrap it in a blanket, and let it sit for at least 8 hours, 12 hours, or overnight, or even 24 hours to get that nice and beautiful yogurt the next day. After that, package them in the jars of your choice or in the containers of your choice. Put them on a fridge, put a label on them, done. The yogurt is ready to be consumed. It's not difficult. It's just something that we, as modern people, modern Americans, are forgetting that step. Even though, trust me, our milks, our commercially produced milks, are not being sold in any other developed country. Canada does not want this milk. Any other countries does not want our milk. Why? It's because how our animals are raised. What are they eating and how are they being treated? Even though Louis Pasteur invented the pasteurization process, he never went back really on his word as far as the importance of pasteurization, as far as killing off the pathogens. But he did kind of come down on the fact that saying that ultra pasteurization was not necessary as long as you warm up the milk to at least 60 Celsius or 122 Fahrenheit, and that would be enough for some time, and just to kill the bad pathogens, right? So, but even though Louis Pasteur, and that was 1800s, the real pasteurization hasn't kicked in until the Prohibition time in the United States. So maybe it's just me. Maybe it is true. I don't know. But it's kind of funny that during Prohibition, that's when all of the pasteurization distilling machinery was not being used because alcohol could not be produced. It's funny how that was the time when pasteurization really took off in this country. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but it makes me think. So, oh, this is so delicious. This one is honey, small batch of yogurt made with milk from our 100% grass-fed Ayrshire cows. Ayrshire, is that how I pronounce it? Oh, it's delicious. With raw honey, yum, so good. So, I'm making yogurt today. Drinking raw milk. I'm not afraid of it. No, because I know that they're coming from a clean place, and the process of milking is a very clean process. If you ever question that, maybe it coming from a dirty farm, don't buy it. I don't recommend it. Absolutely not. We should use our common given sense, God-given sense, to stay away from something that we're not sure about. But I'm pretty comfortable with this farm. Okay. Okay, so I added the starter. Everything is mixed in. I'm going to put a cover on. I'm going to throw a blanket over it just to keep it warm overnight. And it's going to sit on my counter just right here, not touching anybody and doing its thing. And then tomorrow, 12 hours, 18 hours, even 24 hours later, my yogurt is ready. Now, listen, if someone who is immunocompromised or pregnant, then perhaps raw milk is not the best idea, just for precaution. But overall, we do this all the time. So I guess use your own judgment, do your own research, but this is what we do. Okay. So you may have a question. because I know it's coming. Well, is it legal in every state? And the correct answer is no, it is not legal in every state. As a matter of fact, many states it is illegal to sell raw milk, and farmers, dairy farmers, are getting into legal trouble doing that. You cannot cross the state lines and so on and so forth. So, but you can find out if your state allows raw milk. Sometimes it will say not intended for human consumption. And you run with that what you want to be, okay, whether you want to use it for human consumption or not. But the farm may sell it as with that particular label, okay. Also, there may be some state specific regulations, such as sell only on the premises, sell only to cow share people. So in some states, if you are unable to buy raw milk, you can own part of a cow. You basically buy part of a cow on that farm, and therefore that is your milk, and you do with that what you want. So that's sometimes how some people get around that particular regulation. But then there are states where yes, you can actually buy raw milk on your, in your regular stores or on the farm stands. Okay, so in other states, it is completely illegal. I mean, legalized drugs are very much legal, but raw milk is illegal. I don't know. So anyway, friends, so that was my topic today. Whether it is, your decision to purchase and use raw milk, whether it is you want to actually pasteurize it, it's up to you, really. But I'm going to choose to go with beneficial enzymes that the raw milk has, the beneficial bacteria that raw milk has, the beneficial lactase that raw milk has, vitamins, minerals that raw milk has. No need to be fortified with synthetics. So on this note, friends, I hope you're encouraged to learn more about raw milk and benefits of it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but this is what I'm doing.